The subsidiary of Altech Alcom Matomo, has been awarded a Gauteng broadband tender worth 1.2 billion rand. Chief Executive Craig Venter joins us in studio. Craig, we were talking off air about life outside the glare and the spotlight of being listed on the JSE. Well, yes. You know, if you were bringing these kind of tenders in while you were listed, I don't think the shareholders would have let you go.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, we're very proud of the tender, so it's nice.
So interesting. Maybe you could just explain how it works, because reading through the detail, it appears as though it's there for 5 years. It's a fiber optic broadband network, which the country and Gauteng desperately needs. But what happens after 5 years?
Yeah, Alec, I think a key aspect of the tender was that we would build, operate and transfer the tender back to the Gauteng province after the 5-year period. So I think it's great for the economy, it's great for the skill base of the province. So it's going to be a lot of training, it's going to be putting in a next generation network, broadband network, and then a VPN, a virtual private network, for the Gauteng government, for the province. And then we'll obviously link in a lot of community centres, townships, hospitals. So it's a very large contract, and I think it's going to be very good for the province as a whole.
Talk about that obviously link in. Who is going to also get access to this? We would understand the government, Gauteng government desperately needs this. Yes. But you say link in townships, hospitals?
Well, 20 townships will be fully broadband linked, so that's part of the contract.
Which one?
There'll be a whole host of them. All of them.
Would it be like Soweto would be?
Soweto will also will have fibre. 20 townships in total. Wow. 130,000 government employees will have broadband access, which I think is critical. You have a look and see there's probably about 40 community centres. An example of that would be some of the hospitals. Baragwanath Hospital as well is included as one of the hospitals. So a lot of community centres, a lot of infrastructure, state-of-the-art equipment, good broadband speeds, fibre to the government buildings, over 300 government buildings. We'll bring fibre to the government buildings. So a very exciting project, and something that for me, after having been around in the industry for 26 years actually, was a breath of fresh air to see the government really investing in something that I think is going to lift the economy. I think it's going to generate employment, and most importantly, it's skills transfer and skills development, which I think is great.
So what's taken so long, Craig?
I think, it does take a lot of planning this, and I think you need to make sure that the investments are going in the right areas with the right technologies, etc. And I think it's taken a little while, but I think one of the good things or the positive things is it's there now, and it's going to be deployed with very stringent milestones, so we know that it's going to be there and it's measurable, and we can make it a success. So I'm very happy. We use a China provider, global partner that's with us, called Huawei, who are one of the largest telco infrastructure suppliers around the world. And they're going to be fully involved in the project with us, so we'll be using a lot of their technology as well. And what I like about the project is it spans really the entire Altech group and the Bytes group, which is part of Altron. We're going to leverage off the resources of about 5 entities across the group that can deliver a project of this magnitude. And I think, when you look at the history of the group and the fact that we've had Altech as a separately listed company, Alec, as you said, we probably weren't getting the synergies between Altech and Bytes that are so important, especially for a project of this magnitude, where you've got to tie IT and telecoms together and deliver a solution. So we really are seeing now the power of the collective of Altech and Bytes working together. Even though this was an Altech award, we're going to leverage off all of that resource and make sure that we deliver a world-class solution to the Gauteng province.
Wholly owned subsidiaries, of course. Craig, it's well known that you went into East Africa. It wasn't successful, but there must have been lessons you learned there that you're applying here.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think, if you look over 26 years, it's a long period of time being in the industry. And, at the end of the day, I think that, you look at CEOs around the world, I think some CEOs, most CEOs actually have had a black mark in terms of an investment that maybe wasn't as good as what they thought. For the first 2 years, it was a great investment for us. But you know, you're not perfect, and over 26 years, I'm proud of what we've delivered and what we've done as a group, which has been very successful. And Altech today is stronger than it's ever been. So lessons learned, most surely. I think you learn from those things. I think it's definitely, personally, I've learned from a lot of the aspects we dealt with there. I'm just glad that we managed to stand up and move forward, and now we're stronger than ever.
And you can apply that, because it's almost like, well, taking the experience in East Africa, which is far away, and applying it now locally in
South
your
Africa.
own hometown.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic, and I think we've got some very good partners, as I've said. I mean, in-group resource, but we've also got the overseas guys that are with us that are very experienced in this particular area. At the same time, we'll be working with Dark Fiber Africa. So they're going to 70% of the fiber optic cable is already in the ground and for this particular project, because it's a next generation network. It's about 1,600 kilometers of fiber that is going to be required to really provide coverage of 95% of Gauteng.
How many of the communities, how many of the individuals are going to get access to this? I can imagine a guy sitting there, an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur in Soweto, thinking, my goodness, if I can get 1 gig or up to 10 gigs, as you say, of broadband, I'm in it. Will he?
Yeah, no problem at all. I think, as you've correctly said, it really is from 1 gig to 10 gigs. So it's great in terms of the bandwidth speeds, great to be able to have the access and the fiber coming straight to the township or to the government building or to the hospital. So all of that are things that we haven't had as a country really before, and most surely not in the province. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs will be able to now capitalize on that. Putting a figure on how many obviously is difficult.
But can he plug in? Can he plug in? If he's sitting in his home in Soweto, is he going to be able to plug into the
undoubtedly,
network?
Undoubtedly. It's a full self-contained broadband internet network for the Gauteng province, and it's going to have fiber to all of the townships, as I said, 20 townships, 44 community centres, 130,000 government employees, and we're obviously going to then hook up 316 government buildings, and subscribers will be able to link into that network. It's a next generation network, so it's totally self-contained. It was one of the advantages of this tender, was also the fact that in the past the Gauteng government and a lot of South Africa has been contracting to third parties for networks or for data or broadband. In this case, the Gauteng government's going to own the network. So they're not going to have a margin on a margin, if you will, and it'll be less costly. So I think the cost savings are going to be significant as well, but you're going to have the skills transfer, and you're going to be able to have much better communication for the people of Gauteng.
Good for you, Craig.
I'm
glad you're doing it here rather than other parts of the world. That's Craig Venter, the Chief Executive of Altech.